Get Involved Referee is brought to you by Pressbox PR. Pressbox PR puts your brand on the map. From a chat over a pint to the headline of a website, Pressbox PR takes your brand and gives it the recognition that it deserves. With a proven track record with multiple clients, you'll be able to see your press go beyond the box with Pressbox PR. Check out pressboxpr.co.uk for more information. Hello and welcome to Get Involved Referee with Steve Conroy, Des Roach and myself, Lindsay Heron, as we pour over another interesting weekend in the SPFL, and we'll come to the Premiership matches in a moment, guys. A couple of contentious issues to deal with, but of course the burning topic, the big issue this week, it's VAR Day on Friday.
Finally, it's long awaited. We've talked about it long and weary, so now we'll see what it looks like in battle. Looking forward to it. I know I've said it shouldn't be coming in halfway through a season, but looking forward to it, and we'll see what, I was going to say what unravels, that's Freudian. We'll see what happens with it.
I guess it's no surprise that that they've picked an experienced team of men to cover the first game, because they want to get it off to a decent start, Des.
Yeah, I mean, this is Christmas Day for children, and it's Christmas Day for referees. This is the thing that's been long awaited. As you rightly said, I would be dumbfounded if they didn't put a very experienced referee on the game and a very experienced referee in the VAR studio, because it's now no longer a team of four on the pitch. It's a team of an assistant referee and a referee in a studio who are there critiquing and not critiquing, giving you advice. So yeah, I think they would need to put a very strong and experienced team on that.
Oh, indeed.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we've already had the build-up, Steve, and I was quite surprised, as I'm sure you were, with the comments of Ian Maxwell saying that it would be horrendous for the first 3 months as our officials get to grips with it all.
I can't believe that statement was signed off by Ian or anybody. He's pretty much thrown all our guys under the bus. He's telling the world that we are going to be, what was his word? Horrendous. We're going to be crap for the next 3 months. And talking about the training not being completed and the system not being ready. Then don't use it. Don't use something that he knows or is anticipating is going to be, again, his word, horrendous. We've talked about it. We've got it. And we said last week, now that it's there, there's no point in keeping it in the box. Use it, but have it running in the background so that we can make our horrendous mistakes in the next 3 months and we get a chance to learn from it and iron it out, rather than doing it live on telly the first time somebody makes an arse of it. It's a shocking statement.
No, I think it's, and I used the word, I think it's incredulous that the chief executive of the Scottish FA goes out and says, we've got a tool, we've got a technology to use, but we don't trust you. That's basically what he's saying. We don't trust you to use it correctly. Get the training right. We've said it. If you've got the technology, use it, absolutely. But make sure it's ready to go. Make sure it's all fired, all cylinders firing. Referees are happy with it. The video assistant referees are happy with it. Get it right, because you're just going to look foolish. And for a chief executive of a company to come out and say that, I just find that baffling, absolutely baffling. And it's not even just came through the chief executive, it's came through the communications department, and they've allowed that to be sanctioned.
Yeah, somebody signed off.
Yeah.
Shocking.
The thing is, so this Hibs St Johnstone game, it's not actually live on television, unfortunately. Well, certainly not live on any of the normal channels. In the UK, I guess the club channels will be able to show that game, so-called outside the UK and Ireland and that type of thing, with the old geo-blocking. But it's just a shame, because you want to watch the first one, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It would be compelling viewing, and there's nothing better or no better way of seeing if it's going to work or what we need to do than actually watching it. Maybe it's a out of jail for the guys that are doing it, that it's not live on telly for the first game, but it doesn't make sense, but there we go.
Well, I think it's just because of the fact they're going to start it this weekend, and this Hibs St Johnstone game just so happens to be on a Friday.
It was on the Friday.
And it's purely, commercial reasons. I think Hibs believe they might get a crowd, Steve, so that's why they're doing it on the Friday. They may not.
Yep, there might be more now.
Yes, that's true. Roll up to the VAR field.
Can imagine the huddle round the monitor the first time that gets used. There'll be some choice words you'll hear on the radio.
Exactly. Well, of course, it will be live on the radio, but you don't see too many decisions on the radio, so that doesn't make much sense either. So it looks like the focus would then fall on Hearts Celtic live on the Saturday lunchtime, so that's going to be the juicy one to take in, isn't it?
I know for a fact I'll be watching it. And you shudder. I really, really hope, fingers crossed, that it all goes well. It would be awful for something big to happen on a game that size.
You can imagine, though, I mean, you're just looking at the weekend, Des, in England in particular, the big decision in the Liverpool-Man City game, Anthony Taylor forced or asked to go and, check a screen monitor with the VAR officials telling him that there was perhaps 2 actual fouls in the build-up to that goal rather than just the one. But it took so long and, it took so far back in the play.
That's the difficulty of it. Now, we've seen it also a couple of weeks ago in the Juventus game in Europe and how long it took for the VAR information to come through. Looking at the Liverpool game yesterday, it was a foul. Haaland had a clear hold of Fabinho. So, I'm happy with that. But it has to be quick, decisive and actionable. The longer it goes on, I think there's more dubiety that would creep in.
Oh, indeed, but I'm not agreeing entirely. It was a foul. There's no question it was a foul. But how far back do you take the foul incident? No question it was a foul. But how many passages of play did we have between that and the goal? And how long, unless something's happened, maybe you know, Des, advantage is still 2 or 3 seconds. Or that's what it was in our day.
Did we not talk about it a good few years ago when we were getting coached and they talk about phases of play, and that phase is played out and what it leads on to? So for me, like you, that 2-3 seconds, does that phase of play then lead to the attacking opportunity for the goal? If it happens so far back, then no, take it out, because the defending team have still got the opportunity to redeem themselves and get the ball up the other end of the park, and they can create a goal scoring opportunity. Again, I'll go back to it's not the technology, it's the interpretation and the application of it. And you've got to have that feel for the game to see, well, is this impacting on the game?
Yeah, I agree. But in that instance, again, no question, it was a foul. But in my opinion, it was far too long ago. I know it's only seconds, but far too long ago for it to be called. By extension, if you're given that and using that to disallow a goal in VAR, what if the goalie kicks it out to the right back to begin with? Where do you stop? And I know it's not exact 2 or 3 seconds, but you give it a few seconds, and if it goes beyond that, play on.
Apparently, word has it that the VAR would have also given a foul for Haaland's challenge on Alisson before he grabbed Fabinho. So that would have taken it even further back in the whole passage of play. So like you say, Steve, it's quite a difficult one and you just hope our guys don't have to get lumped with one of them this weekend.
I know, touch wood. But I think in that kind of instance, they're over-egging the use. It's technology. It showed a foul, but it showed a foul that, in my opinion, was years ago compared to the goal. Let it go. Or we are going down the rugby route where you just play advantage and play advantage and play advantage.
Although I suppose ultimately, Des, the right decision was reached in the sense that the Man City goal was disallowed and Liverpool go on and win the game. So it's just a massive swing in the situation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool went on and won the game. You could see Guardiola going crazy on the sideline. But as Steve quite rightly says, there's got to be a line drawn in the sand of how far do you go back. Now, for me, I'm quite happy if it's in the final third, you play the advantage for that 2 or 3 seconds for the attacking team. If it's a clear and obvious foul against the defending team, you give it. And also Anthony Taylor never picked it up, and it was referred to him, and he went and looked at it. He got the right decision, but it's the circumstances round how he got to that right decision that's probably not sitting easy with yourself and I.
It's not sitting easy with me, and I'm maybe at variance with you slightly. It showed that there was a foul, but I'm not. I don't think that it should have disallowed the goal
because it's too far back.
Because it's too far back. Perfectly happy to say that's decisions, and people far more important than Des have decided that was relevant. But in my humble opinion, that was too long ago. Caught the foul, yep, but it was too long ago.
One of the points that Guardiola was making, which we can maybe translate into our games at the weekend, was that Anthony Taylor had kind of apparently said to the two managers before the game, I want to triangulate the game flow here. I'm going to play on as often as I possibly can. And I think that was the case perhaps up at Pittodrie in the some of the meaty challenges involved in that one, Steve, where the referee Don decided to let the game flow a bit more, didn't he?
Well, absolutely. He set his bar high, I think adventurously high, but it worked for him. And one thing that we're always being criticised for is that we're inconsistent. Don was perfectly consistent right the way through that game. He set his bar high and he didn't move the bar. I think it worked for him. It made for a really good game. And although the kind of slight flash point at the end, everybody just got on and knew what he was doing and just accepted it and got on with it.
Yeah, I think Lindsay said it to me last week. I like a physicality about football, and I do. If you look at the caution count in the game, it was 3 cautions for Aberdeen, 3 cautions for Hearts, which seems obviously quite adequate. But no, if a player genuinely goes for the ball, then fine. There was a couple of meaty ones in there, but he's made the call. But there are no headlines. Managers aren't calling for Don. So he's managed the game. He's set his acceptable level. Steve said yes, he set it higher, but it's acceptable. And the players have got on with it.
Maybe it's because it's Jim Goodwin and Robbie Nielsen in charge of the teams, and they used to kick everything above the grass. So that's one of the reasons.
Well, not always, but I mentioned I did the Renfrewshire Cup final one year. I think it's pre-season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But Renfrewshire Cup, and I had to have a word with Jim in the passing and saying, if this is a competitive game, I'm sending you off for that attempted elbow in the face. So he liked his football meaty as well.
Absolutely. Jayden Richardson going in on Alec Cochrane early on to cop a yellow. That was quite a tasty one, wasn't it? And then not long after, he had a bit of a challenge, and Andy Halliday ended up hobbling off with what looked like an Achilles injury, but he didn't get any action against him for that one.
I've got down Richardson yellow correct. I was quite happy with that. I think the foul on Andrew, was there much in it? They went up for a header. He's came down. He's obviously injured himself, but I wouldn't be looking for a second yellow card for that. If you're going to give someone a second yellow card, it has to be absolutely obvious. But unfortunately, Andrew's got injured. I wouldn't be looking for a second yellow.
Well, injuries are part of the game, unfortunately. But I do think I've written down that it's in both, what's the phrase we've used, the high tariff yellow.
Yes.
I think the first one was a high tariff yellow. Could have been a red. But the second one after it, as I've said, Don set his bar and set his standard, so assumed that wasn't a caution, and it's worked for him. Different referees in that position would have called it differently, but I'm not disagreeing with Don at all. He set his stall out and he stuck to it, so fair play to him.
But the one at the end was a bit reckless, I felt. George Grant going in on Connor Barron, no attempt to play the ball, it looked to me. Liam Scales reacted running out of the box to confront the Hearts man. Both of them were yellow carded for that incident.
Yep. Again, other people could have called that red. I might have been of the red persuasion on that occasion.
Yep.
But again, he was perfectly consistent. Decided what was and wasn't significant tackles worthy of cautioning. Stuck to it the whole way through, so I'm perfectly happy to agree with him on that one.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, and I don't think you can avoid the Scales challenge. The Scales yellow card, because he's ran such a distance to get to you that everybody in the stadium knows that he's dissenting against your decision. So that's an obvious bit. The Grant one, he's pushed it, but as Steve rightly says, Don's set his limit. He's let everybody know. He's managed the situation, and he's got on with it.
Couple of things in the Motherwell Rangers game which have been doing the rounds on socials. David Dickinson in charge of that one, of course, and they both happened fairly towards the end of the game. The one was a through ball from Rangers, seemed to catch Beavis Mugabe on the left forearm, and that stopped Alfredo Morelos running through on goal. Some people calling that an automatic red because it's denying a goal scoring opportunity, but I don't know if too many people saw it.
It wasn't highlighted certainly on BBC television. I know obviously we've spoken about it prior. I've not seen it. It was on Sky, but the fact that it hasn't been highlighted on terrestrial television to me sees that it's not an issue. I wouldn't have thought so. Can't
give a decent opinion on it. I'm the same. I didn't see it. Again, you're stuck with watching it on Sportscene. They didn't see fit to show it, although they didn't see fit to show a couple of things. So I can't say one way or the other. I know I've seen a still of it, and the still looks pretty damning. But I couldn't give you a proper opinion on that one just because I didn't see it.
I guess that's one that probably could be picked up by VAR though, because they would be able to see that in their live feed.
Probably any handball in the box would go to VAR, because we'll talk about it later. One at Ross County that wasn't given, but again, the VAR guys would probably have a look at that. Yes, it certainly would go to VAR.
And the other one, the Motherwell manager not happy at all with Leon King's challenge on Stuart McKinstry, the Motherwell goal scorer. 3 minutes to go, and Motherwell maybe trying to get a wee leveller out of the game, and it was one of these take one for the team tackles we've talked about the last few weeks. But it was the force of the challenge that was more upsetting the Motherwell manager.
Again, from his point of view, yeah, obviously he's going to be saying that, but I didn't think that there was anything, certainly not screaming at anything to be sent off or anything. No. But it's the same tackles we've discussed on many occasions.
Yeah.
It's not.
Do we think that there should be a sending off sanction specifically for that?
Yep.
Different discussion.
Yeah.
But for what happened, no, I'm comfortable it wasn't anything beyond that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't excessive. I think that's the word that you use: excessive force or brutality, which there wasn't. It's very difficult to tell a player how hard you can challenge for the ball or how soft you can challenge for the ball. It's a physical game. You're allowed to go for it. But no, I wouldn't expect anything from that. I'm quite happy.
Mm-hmm. You touched on Ross County. We'll maybe talk about that one. Did that catch your eye, Des, the handball incident up there?
Yeah, it did. It caught my eye, and I think Craig Napier caught it absolutely correctly. Yes, the ball hit his hand, but look at the proximity and the pace of the ball coming at him. What can you reasonably expect the player to do? The player can't get out the road of that. That's coming to him. So no, absolutely fine with that. No problem.
Yep, spot on. And
it was fairly quiet elsewhere around the grounds, Des, wasn't there? Wasn't too many other incidents of note.
No, as I say, looking through my notes, I've really got nothing to say. But that doesn't mean that referees have had an easy day. Mm-hmm. No, referees have made the game easy enough to manage because of their skills. Mm-hmm. So you've got to give them the praise for it. But very, very easy as a nation, and us as, I don't know, I'm not going to call myself a pundit, but to criticise referees. Mm-hmm. No, give them respect and give them the plaudits that they deserve. I don't think any of the referees come out the weekend with a tarnished reputation. I thought they'd all done very, very well.
The one thing I just wanted to bring up with you, though, was the game at Celtic Park on Saturday. Hibs annihilated 6-1, 3 minutes added on. Alexandro Bernabei goes into the box. Dimitri Mitchell just falls over, and Stephen McLean gives a free kick as Bernabei touches it back to Kyogo, who's probably going to score, but just kicks it past the post because the whistle's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he probably would have scored. I saw some things and some pretty shocking comments on social media about how amateur our refs are for things like that. The simple truth is that Stephen miscalled a foul. That was it. That's the significance of it. And yeah, it's 6-1, so that goal makes it 7-1. There's no significance to it at all, other than the fact that we disagree with Stephen's foul call. That's it.
Yeah, half the stadium were already gone. So
I know.
It's away. If it was one each and he makes that call, okay, you're not saying making a mistake is, I don't know.
It's not acceptable to make mistakes.
Yes. It's a mistake, right? But it has no bearing on the game. And I can guarantee you, Ange Postecoglou will not make one comment about that.
Nobody will be talking about
Nobody will be talking about it. And Lee Johnson won't be making a comment about it.
No, I don't think he did.
Unless Celtic miss out on the title with a goal.
Well, I was just saying, that's maybe it. They'll replay this ad infinitum.
Yes.
But actually, and I pretty much know the answer, but we've had a few calls and a few texts to say, do referees ease off on a team that's getting a hammering?
No. With a slight caveat. I did once in a boys' game. It was a cup competition, so you're either through to the next round or you're not. Somebody was already getting pumped 9-0 and the ball went over the goalie to go for 10 and full time arrived just before the ball went in. Other than that, no, it never ever happens. You call it as you see it, no
rubbish.
matter when.
Revelations, my goodness.
Absolute rubbish.
No, I mean, seriously, there isn't a wee sort of soft spot for a team that's getting pummeled and you maybe, we'll give a wee free kick there so that they don't score again.
No, you be professional, but you be professional with a human head.
Yeah.
Call it as you see it.
Oh, well. Yeah.
Unless it's a boys' team getting beaten 9-0.
Well, you've been very praiseworthy of the refs. Let's hope that we're equally praiseworthy next weekend after VAR. So who's your ref of the weekend, fellas?
We've not discussed it actually today.
I don't know. I think, I know we copped out one week and said it was everybody. I think everybody did well. As you said, nobody came out with a reputation tarnished. But as a slight difference, a slight change, I'm going to give it to the team of the week. And that was at Celtic Hibs, because there was lots of tight, really good offside calls as well. So I'm giving it to the Celtic Hibs team.
Ah, right, okay. Just so everybody working well together.
Yep, a really good team. Well worked.
Yeah, it's very much a team game, and it's even more so coming of next week. It's a team game extended when you've got these guys sitting in the studio who are going to be giving you their advice and their information. So I'm quite happy to go with Steve. I personally, I thought Craig Napier, when he's made a tight call up at Ross County with a handball, both teams where they are in the league, trying to get points, trying to get momentum. But no, as Steve said, refereeing's not an individual sport. Refereeing's a team game. So no, I'm happy to support that.
Absolutely. Well, don't miss next week's episode when we go over all the big VAR incidents for the first time in the Scottish Premiership. See you next time.